What's up everybody, it's Yash and today I'm gonna share with you 5 pieces of advice that will give you an head start in your art career. So buckle up and let's dive right into it. The first piece of advice that really helped me was to always complete what you started. This happened to me a lot and I think most of you people can relate with this. I used to abandon my drawings very often just because it looked bad for some reason and I didn't want to spend time on something that would turn out to be not good. So I used to think, what's the point of completing this piece if it's not gonna turn out to be great? But I was so stupid to see the fact that the piece didn't look good because it's not completed yet. If you're also stuck in this loop of incomplete drawings, then you're really in a big mess. At this rate, you're never gonna complete any drawings and you're never gonna improve. Your first priority at this point should be to just complete an art piece. Cause even if it didn't turn out to be the way you thought, at least you completed an art piece. You should never judge an art piece which is in progress. Just trust the process and give yourself some time to cook. I'm not saying you should ignore your mistakes while drawing. I just mean that judging your drawing without acting on it is completely pointless. You can always make changes when it's in progress. You just need to acknowledge the mistakes and try to fix those. I know this sounds very obvious, but your mind gets really tricky when it doesn't want to complete something. So watch out for that. It can deceive you to believe really ridiculous things. The next piece of advice might seem a little strict and limiting, but it will really help you when it comes to your speed of painting. And it is to set a timer for yourself. This might sound a little weird, but you need to understand that your artistic mind is your friend and your enemy at the same time. It's because of the perfectionist mindset. I've heard so many times that you should not zoom in too much or else it will take forever to complete the art piece. Still, I catch myself often zooming in and unnecessarily carving out those tiny details. If this happens to you too, then don't worry, it's not your fault. I think the cause for this perfectionist mindset is that the mind has developed an elite taste in art because of the endless consumption of art through different media. So that's why our mind doesn't want to see any bad art and pushes us to make endless edits until it gets satisfactory results. But unlike our mind, our skill levels are not that good when it comes to execution, and it never really could be, because your taste in art will always be one step ahead of your skill levels. That's what drives us to improve, and it's good, but this costs us a huge amount of time. You could be making 2 art pieces in 8 hours, but you get stuck in one for 10, and even after completion it still feels something's lacking. I know the time to complete an art piece varies from person to person. What I mean to say is that you're taking way more time to complete an art piece than needed. Not that it's bad to take time and do it slowly and steadily. If you wanna take time with your art, then of course go ahead and do that. In fact, hyperrealism artists sometimes take 60 to 70 hours to complete one art piece. But I don't wanna take that much time to complete an art piece. And if you're watching this video, then certainly you're not into that kind of art. Again, no offense to hyperrealistic artists out there, it's just not my cup of tea. So coming back to the solution, to stop this from happening, you need to set a timer for yourself. Not a stopwatch, not an alarm clock, just a regular old timer. It's not like you have to complete the art piece within the given time or you'll be banished to Shadow Realm. It's just to remind you that time's ticking away. This makes you constantly move around the canvas and really improves your speed. This also helps you to ignore the distractions while you draw, knowing the fact that you're on a clock. I usually set my timer to 4 hours. You can set your time according to you. After the given time's up and you're still not done with the piece, then take 30 or 1 hour more and make sure to complete it. Alright, this third advice is not really an advice that someone gave me. I just figured it out. Don't get obsessed by the reference image. As you know, references are very crucial for your improvement and really advanced artists also uses references. So it's natural to get obsessed with it, but the real problem arises when you try to copy the reference one to one. You get so lost in copying every detail from the reference that you start to see only the contours of the subject. Hence, you start to copy the contours mindlessly without questioning why it looks the way it looks. This results in wrong placements, dull colors, and the soul of art gets torn apart. So the motive you should have while drawing from reference is to observe and question. See where the subject is placed on the canvas. Observe the perspective present in it. See where the light is coming from. Observations like this will improve your art and will also contribute to your mental library of images. One more thing, while drawing, your eyes should be more on the canvas and less on the reference photo. In this way, your mind gets time to process and implement the things you observed in the reference image. Also, you can spot your mistakes instantaneously if you're being mindful. Speaking of mindful, this takes us to our next piece of advice on the list, which is to be mindful while you draw or to get in the zone. This advice helped me a lot when it comes to rendering and the time it takes to complete the piece. Being open with all your senses allows you to plan, execute and judge your brushstrokes really well. I'm not saying you should make a plan for every brushstroke you put in, but you should be perceptive enough to notice the things that do not work well with the piece. There are different ways to get in the zone for different people. Maybe you get in the zone faster by listening to music. Maybe you like to draw without anything playing in the background. Whatever you do, just make sure to not let anything interfere with your perception. Your thoughts should be very clear while you draw. I personally don't listen to music or any kind of podcast while I draw, but if there's too much distracted noise in the background or if I'm feeling low, I choose one song and play it on the loop for the entirety of my process of drawing. This might sound like a psychotic thing to do, but it does help me to organize my thoughts and of course to get in the zone faster. Alright, let's move on to the last and the most important piece of advice which will help you to learn the fundamentals with less difficulties, and that is move forward mindset. I always used to think, okay, so I need to learn the fundamentals to get good at art. But for how long? How long should I draw these cubes in perspective? How long should I study these muscles? The answer to this question is forever. You need to understand that throughout your art journey, you never stop learning. You need to improve every day to be the great artist that you always strive to be. Okay, but this answer is not really helpful if you are a beginner and have a long way to go. So the more practical way to approach learning the fundamentals is to set a realistic timeline for a particular topic you want to learn. Try to complete it within the timeline and after that move on to the next topic and get back to it whenever you feel you're lacking something regarding that topic you learned. For example, if you want to learn anatomy, set a 3-month schedule for it and cover all the topics regarding anatomy. After 3 months, if you got something left to cover, set another week for it and tie all the loose ends. After that, just move on. Move on to the next quest of your life. That's it. That's all you gotta do. You just need to cover all the topics. Implementation is the key here. You just need to apply the concepts you learned in your drawings. And whenever you feel like you need to recall a particular muscle group you learned, set a week for it to study. In this way, you get multiple revisions done without getting stuck in anatomy forever. And setting a deadline also keeps you disciplined. So win-win, I would say. If you have any question regarding any advice, you can always comment down below. Thank you for watching the video till the end and I'll see you in the next one.